Hello there and welcome to the FM Scout YouTube channel. I'm CurtyFM and this is a continuation of the mini-series we've been running here on the FM Scout YouTube channel, where all the FM Scout YouTubers show you videos on their favourite Football Manager tactics. Before we get into the nuts and bolts of my favourite Football Manager 2017 tactic, I'd like to invite you over to my channel, CurtyFM, where you can see the tactic in action. I'm running an Arsenal Let's Play series over there. I'd love it if you came and had a look. I'd love it if you stuck around. I'd love it if you subscribed. That would be amazing. So come and see the tactic in action. If you don't believe what you see in the video, I've got proof of it over on my channel. What I will say, however, is this is not a universal tactic. This is not going to fix all your problems, no matter what team you are. At Arsenal, I've got a group of very highly technical players, and I've built that tactic around those players. It's very important when you're playing Football Manager that you take notice of what players you've got at your disposal at the time and try and fit them into the system. The game's moved on now from just plugging in and playing any kind of tactic you want and exploiting the game. You know, you've really got to take notice of your squad, what your squad are capable of, where their strengths might be, where their weaknesses might be. Whether a tactic works or not can be a very sensitive issue for some people, and some people get upset when they try and play someone else's tactic for a completely different squad and it doesn't work. So I wanted to make sure we're all aware that not every tactic will work for any club. So now we got all that stuff out of the way, let's actually get on with the video and show you the tactic in question. So here it is. It's a fairly basic 4-2-3-1 system. Like I say, I've got a bunch of highly technical players, intelligent players as well. So this tactic really works for Arsenal. We'll start at the back. Petr Cech is just a bog standard goalkeeper. The only instructions we've got on him is to distribute it to the fullbacks. I noticed in the first season his pass completion was way down on everyone else, and it was basically just because I'd forgot to give him the instructions to play it short. Basically, you know, we've not got a big ball winning player up front. Dybala, Mesut Ozil, Griezmann, Sanchez, you know, they're not amazing in the air. They're not going to be winning flick-ons here and there. So it makes sense to build from the back with this tactic. And since we've switched to just playing it to the fullbacks, it's been a lot more effective. We're keeping possession better. If the other team haven't got the ball, they can't score. In defence, my two central defenders, again, very, very basic, Koscielny and Mustafi. One thing you will need to note is that we play with a control mentality. So that, in turn, means you're playing with quite a high defensive line. So you do need defenders with a little bit of pace, just to cover any balls over the top. You could play Cech or your goalkeeper as a sweeper keeper just to mop up any balls, but I mean, Cech's not really suited to playing a sweeper keeper role, so I just would rather have defenders with a bit of pace, good positioning, so that, you know, they're aware of when balls might come over the top and they're able to deal with them. We still get caught out, to be honest with you. That's one of our weaknesses. We still get caught out with balls over the top, and maybe in future seasons I'll sign a sweeper keeper to try and combat that, but I'd like playing with the control mentality with this squad, so it's not really something I want to compromise on. Sometimes we have to drop deeper, but in the long term this will work okay. So Koscielny and Mustafi both have the same player instructions in that they don't have any. Both of them, you know, are just asked to pass the ball short, give it to players that better equipped to utilise the ball and just do their jobs, really. Just do their jobs as centre-backs and nothing more. On the right-hand side, we've got Hector Bellerin. I want him to get forward. He's quick. He's very, very quick. We ask him to get forward. We ask him to cross from the byline. That's the only player instruction I've put on him. And we just want him supporting the winger up there and just utilising his pace. I have my more defensive-minded midfielder on this side for that reason. You know, Xhaka's playing this role at the moment, and he's there to cover Bellerin if he gets caught further up the field. What you've got to think about is that you want a balanced tactic. You want players covering as many areas of the pitch as you can. So, but here, Bellerin's getting forward. If he gets caught out, Xhaka's in a defensive role in this area, so he'll be able to cover. On the left-hand side, we've got Jose Gaya playing a wing-back supporting role. If you look further up the pitch, Griezmann, as the inside forward, he's going to be cutting inside a lot. So we want Gaya to be occupying that space as and when Griezmann cuts in from that left-hand side. And as a further note, we've got Cazorla here just sitting again in a deep line playmaker role. It's quite a static role. He'll look to stay deep and play passes from that area rather than getting forward. So again, if Gaya gets caught out further up the pitch, Cazorla's going to be here to cover. Just touching on the two midfielders, the two central midfielders. In previous Football Manager versions, playing a 4-2-3-1 has left you exposed when your opponents are playing an attacking midfielder. So I've always tended to pick two roles where players aren't necessarily going to be bursting forward and leaving gaps for opponents to occupy and take advantage of. And in this particular system, it's worked really well. Defensively, we're very, very solid. I'll show you some proof of that shortly. But defensively, we're really, really solid. And our attacking players are good enough to break teams down. The two central midfielders don't have any additional player instructions outside of their roles. So Cazorla, all he's asked to do is shoot less often and hold his position. And Xhaka is asked to hold his position and close down the ball a little bit more. He's our tackler in midfield. Whenever I play three players in a midfield position, whether it's an attacking midfield and two central midfielders or a defensive midfield and two central midfielders, I always try and employ a one tackler, one runner and one passer combination. So in this particular system, Xhaka is very much our tackler, Cazorla would be our passer, and playing as an advanced playmaker attack, Mesut Ozil tends to get the ball and run with it, run at defenders. Ozil, again, no additional player instructions apart from what the role has. All he's asked to do, shoot less often, dribble more, and more risky passes. You know, he's our most creative player. We want him to have the most creative freedom in the team and basically just do what he wants, really. He's kind of the key to the whole thing. On the left-hand side, we have Griezmann in an inside forward support role. The only additional player instruction we've added for him is to shoot less often. I found with our team last season, so we're in the second season now, but in the first season I was playing Alexis Sanchez in this role quite a lot. And he was cutting inside and just shooting from 25, 30 yards. I just found that was one of the things that he tended to do quite often. So it was quite frustrating. So the only additional player instruction I've given our inside forward is to shoot less often because I want to avoid that. I've got no problem with players shooting from distance, but quite often it's just wasteful. And I want them to think about when is the best opportunity, when's the best time to shoot from distance, when's the best time to lay it off to a teammate. On the right hand side, Alexis is just a standard winger, so again, no additional player instructions. He's just asked to be a winger, and that's all I want him to do. Now, up front we've got a complete forward attack, Paulo Dybala, and frankly I said Ozil was the key to the system, but Paulo Dybala has been absolutely phenomenal for me since I signed him in the first season. A huge amount of our goals come through him, and making sure we get the right supply to him. He's incredibly versatile. He can come deep to collect the ball, but he'll also hang on the shoulder of the last defender and cause havoc. And also, when he does that, he creates a lot of space for Ozil to operate in, which again is really important. In terms of team instructions, we start with a control mentality. As you're playing as Arsenal, you're going to be favourites in most games. And a control mentality, especially with this squad, just fits so well. Team shape is fluid. We've got a lot of technical, creative players. With a fluid mentality, they're given a little bit more creative freedom than they would be on, say, flexible. An intelligent squad is one of our strengths, and it's important that we try and use that as much as possible. In terms of team instructions, all I ask them to do is keep the ball, so shorter passing, and hit early crosses. This is because I just don't want the build-up play to be slow. If a player sees an opportunity to get the ball forward, I want him to get the ball forward. I want him to get it in the box. In terms of set pieces, I like to make sure I've got at least 3 players staying back at all times. I don't want to overcrowd the box. I don't really know why. I think it's just because of previous versions where there were exploits at near post corners and stuff like that, and one of the important things about those exploits was that you don't overcrowd the box. But anyway, this is how I've always done it. The corner supply is just mixed. I like to mix it up. I don't, basically, if there is a corner tactic where you can exploit it, I personally don't like to use it because I don't like to exploit the game, because it doesn't feel like you're playing it in the way that it should be played. Some people would disagree with that, some people would agree with that. That's just how I do it. This is the beauty of this game. It's subjective, there's so many different ways to play it. But yeah, it's the same from the other side as well. So just a couple of players attacking the ball from deep, one challenging the keeper, one at the near post, one at the far post, and one just hanging around in the box. And that's it. It's about as basic as it gets. I mean, to be honest, the whole premise of my tactic in general is how basic it is. So many people have, 15 team instructions here, and for me, I've just always operated with the KISS mentality. KISS as in keep it simple, stupid. This game is so complex, but it doesn't need to be overcomplicated. I just want to show you a bit of the analysis screen. Obviously you can see that in the last 50 matches, this is very much the tactic I've used the most. I have messed around a little bit with the 4-1-4-1, which actually is my favourite tactic from previous versions of Football Manager, but I've not really needed to deviate away from the 4-2-3-1, to be honest. You can see we create a hell of a lot more chances than our opposition, but the crux of it is that we're Arsenal at the end of the day. You can see against similar rated teams, for and against is in our favour. Smaller rated teams, for and against is in our favour. But we haven't played any higher rated teams in the last 50 matches. Just to show you where most of our goals come from, actually. And I haven't looked at this screen for a while, so I'm a little bit surprised. Good variety from all over the areas of the pitch. Although on the right hand side, we've only got 14 assists from the right hand side in the last 50 matches, which surprises me considering we attack down the right hand side a lot, especially with Bellerin charging forward. So that might be something I need to look at. Also, we've got a slightly higher number of assists conceded against us on this side. So this suggests to me that defensively and going forward, perhaps we can look at our right hand side and see if we can mix things up to make it a bit more efficient. So I just wanted to show you a few examples of the tactic in action. Now, although we're playing with a control mentality, we do counter really well. And this is a game in the Champions League against Atletico Madrid. You can see what the scoreline was, obviously. You can see the match stats. Actually, we had quite a lot of long shots in this match. Again, something that maybe needs to be looked at in the future. But just a few examples of some of the types of goals we score. So you can see here, Koke has the ball for Atletico. We win it back and counter really, really well. And it's a good example of using Bellerin and his pace down this right-hand side. So Bellerin wins the ball, gives it to Ozil, lays it back off to Bellerin, who now just charges at the defence. Plays it into Griezmann, who's on his own in the box, and he just tucks it away very nicely. Our second goal in this game was an example of why you should always have players on the edge of the box after a corner, as Chamberlain got it and put it in the top corner after the corner had been cleared initially. This game was a 3-0 win away to Norwich. Norwich set up quite defensively, to be honest with you, and we had to try and break them down. And I'm showing you this goal because I love this goal. This is such clever play from Ross Barkley. You'll see why in a sec. So Xhaka wins the ball back here. Barkley picks it up here. You think, okay, Griezmann's created a lot of space here around where the referee is, and maybe Barkley should be further forward. But just watch what Barkley does here, because this is wonderful. What a reverse ball that is out to Lacazette. And Griezmann pokes it in. from the cutback from Lacazette. But this is exactly what I'm talking about when I'm saying this tactic works for my Arsenal team. Like, if I was going to play as a lower league club, wouldn't even dream of playing a tactic like this for a lower league club, because I just don't see it working. This tactic was built for this Arsenal squad and this Arsenal squad alone. If I went and managed Man United, then sure, I might use the same 4-2-3-1 shape, but you can bet that the roles, possibly the mentality, possibly the team shape, it would all be different, because it would be built and tailor-made for that United squad. I appreciate that a lot of you won't want to hear this, because I know quite a few of you still enjoy going to Steam and uploading other people's tactics, but I'll be honest with you, I used to do that as well, up until probably Football Manager 2010, 2011. I used to do exactly that. I used to just upload tactics, try and find the best super tactic, and just basically hit continue until I won the league. And I can tell you now that building your own tactic, trying to understand the game, building your own tactic is so much more rewarding than just uploading a tactic that someone else has created. So that's it from me. Hopefully I didn't waffle on too long, and hopefully I kind of got across what I'm doing with this Arsenal tactic, with this 4-2-3-1. Like I say, if you do try and use this tactic and it doesn't work, I'm sorry, but I have told you, I have warned you. Hopefully my message has been, clear enough that not every tactic is going to work for every club. It's just how it is now for Football Manager. The sooner you get your head around it, and the sooner you start creating your own tactics, the sooner you'll start enjoying the game more, I can guarantee it. Anyway, if you've enjoyed this video, please make sure you hit the thumbs up. It's really, really appreciated when you do. If you're new to the FM Scout YouTube channel, why not subscribe, stick around. We've got some fantastic content creators on here producing some great content, and it's well worth hanging around to see what comes up. Go and check out the other videos in this series as well. Some of the other creators have posted their favourite tactics. Some of them you might like more than this one, so go and watch them all, see which one you like best. And if you are going to use one of our tactics, maybe play around with all of them. One last shout out for my channel, CurtyFM. Go and check it out. I promise you this system does work for my team. So go and have a look at and see how we're getting on my channel. But that's all from me. Thanks again for watching the FM Scout YouTube channel. I've been CurtyFM. All the best, and we'll see you next time.